In our very first story, the Ghana Health Service has directed a redistribution of the ready-to-use therapeutic food known as plumpy nuts to communities experiencing a shortage. This was after Joy News investigations revealed lots of children suffering severe malnutrition in the northern region could die as a result of an acute shortage of the supplement. Justice Baidu was in the Nanumba North District of the region where he found out the Ghana Health Service has not supplied the nuts to the region for the past 3 months.
This image looks like those out of a refugee camp, or worse, a war-torn country. A heavily malnourished child desperately crying for help. He looks so emaciated, you can even count his rib bones.
The upper arm circumference is 9.5, so it means the child is severely malnourished. The child is wasting.
Baby Abdul weighs 6 kilos, way less than what a 1.5-year-old baby like him should be weighing. Abdul is just one of many stunted children who have been brought here to the health center in Leposi for ready-to-use therapeutic food, otherwise known as plumpy nut. But there aren't any here. The critical lifesaver for children like Abdul suffering stunting ran out here more than 3 months ago, and the Ghana Health Service is yet to supply them. Ma Monimbe is Abdul's mother.
Some of the children are born malnourished. And in this area, when you give birth, we get pregnant early again. So a child would be 3 months and the mother would get pregnant. So we can't breastfeed, and so they get malnourished.
These plumpy nuts could mean the difference between life and death for hundreds of children suffering acute malnutrition in communities like Leposi. They've already done 3 months of wait, and as the clock ticks, nobody knows how many more days they would have to wait. This small town in the Nanumba North District is one of the towns with the highest malnutrition numbers in this area, recording at least 3 cases of stunted children every month. Daniel Al-Hassan, the nurse here, says time is running out for the children.
My fear is that if we don't get this plumpy nut in time, most of the children will experience a severe form of malnutrition. These children, when they are malnourished, their immune system suppresses. So any little infection takes the child away. Something like common malaria can lead to death.
The most affected are the underones and are pregnant women.
Dr. Stephen Dadia is the district health director for Nanumba North. He says the shortage is a regional crisis.
For the past 3 months, we could take delivery of over 50 cartons of the plumpy nuts. But as I speak to you now, 2 weeks ago when we went to Tamale, one made a request. We had only 4. It is a regional-wide issue. It is not just Nanumba North.
Several lives are dependent on the supply of these plumpy nuts, and that must be soon rather than later. Justice Baidu, Joy News, Leposi.
So the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Anthony Nsiasare, says they are seeking to mop up the ready-to-use food supplements from areas that have excess stocks to be sent to districts such as the Nanumba North, even as they work on importing fresh stocks. Yava blames the shortage on a drying up of donor support following Ghana's classification as a lower middle-income country.
Because we are lower middle-income economy, we are being weaned off on a lot of aid support that we get from our development partners. So because of that, there is a local company in Bronhafo that has been doing also this food supplement for us, the ready-to-use therapeutic food for us. So we are not getting also the full complement from that end. And that is the way that we are bridging up, and we are trying to be self-sufficient in case UNICEF moves out complete. So we want to reach a stage where we will do it ourselves in country. And that's the way that we are going to solve the problem once and for all. So we don't depend on UNICEF that if they cut down their aid to Ghana, then we have a problem. We will then also try and do what we can do to also improve on the malnourished situation in the district that we are having a lot of malnourished children. The director in charge of nutrition had a long talk of UNICEF, and the problem is being sorted out. Sometimes you have also some of this food supplement in some other districts where they may not need it immediately. So my officers are also trying to mop up other ranges, other districts where they have more than enough to send to this district. So we'll sort that one out as quickly as possible. In the long term, we will also make sure that we have adequate budgetary allocations to take over completely from what UNICEF is doing. So these are the three-pronged approach that we have put in place, and that's what we are going to solve the problem.
Well, this issue is just one part of a major problem, which is a general lack of vital supplements following the withdrawal of donor support that comes with our status as a lower middle income country. We're working the phone lines to get the health minister on this issue. But let's first speak to Eric Banye, who is the council program coordinator of SNV, a civil society group that deals with malnutrition, health and food security. He joins us via Skype. Thank you for making time. Now, we anticipated in 2015 that we were going to be faced with this issue, but as it turned out now, we did nothing to avert the situation. You have been looking at this issue. How bad is it?
Hello? Hello? Hello,
all right, it appears Eric Banye is having a difficulty hearing me. Hello, Eric, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear me?
So I'm saying that we anticipated in 2015 that we were going to be faced with this issue, but it turned out we didn't do much about it to avert it. You have been looking at it. How bad is our situation right now?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers and listeners as well. I think the story Joy FM just aired is one of several similar situations in Ghana, and most especially in northern Ghana.
All right, we can barely hear you. I don't know if we can get to work the lines. We'll work the lines again and see if we can get you on a much clearer line. But you were making your point earlier. If you could just repeat it. All right, we have managed to reach Eric on the phone lines now. So, Eric, you were making your point about how bad our situation is. If you could just repeat yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I said, I think the situation Joy FM just presented about Bimbla is only one of several similar cases in the country. The situation of malnutrition is so bad that time is not only running out in the case of Bimbla, but time is running out for Ghana as a whole. The issue of plumping nuts not being supplied on a regular basis is something I think as a nation we shouldn't be talking about as at now. Because years ago, we're very sure about donor funding going to be reduced in the country as long as we move into the era of lower middle income country. Of course, this is one of the disadvantages of going into that kind of situation. We knew that donor support will reduce. And if we have our own development problem, which is nutrition, being supported by development partners, we needed to put in the measures to ensure that we take off from wherever they are going to stop. And for me, it just shows a clear case of lack of commitment in addressing nutrition in this particular country. And unfortunately, nutrition as a whole has always been seen as an afterthought. We don't deliberately plan to address malnutrition in this particular country.
All right, you talk about the situation, Eric, being that bad. Is it that bad that we can say that we've lost some children as a result of the acute shortage?
As long as you have lost one life, it is bad. There are situations where a lot of children they've died, and probably they've not recorded them that they died out of malnutrition, but of course they will die out of other associated diseases, and that's what they will record. But I think that this particular country, the situation of malnutrition is so bad that we are training a generation of malnourished children that will manage the economy of this particular country. And if we do not take care, in the next 2 decades, we will have a number of adult populations that are already malnourished from infancy. And therefore, it comes with all these effects in terms of mental ability to manage the country, your physical strength, your dependence on the already poor health facilities in the country. And that is why we needed to put in all the necessary measures, address the malnutrition, especially infant malnutrition in the country. And if we do not do that and still continue to pay lip service to nutrition, the situation we have just witnessed in Bimbla will catch up with all of us, even if we are in Accra, and the effect is very big for this particular country.
All right.
So I think, as the Director General mentioned, we should not just be reacting to where a district asks for the plumping nut and we rush to provide them. We should be looking at a more concerted approach in terms of how the country as a whole will plan, will budget, and will show some form of commitment in addressing malnutrition in the country.
All right, the issue has to do, I would want to believe, largely with funding, because yes, we're a lower middle income country, but we do not have all the funds to buy as much plumping nuts as we need. How do you suggest we go about it? Should we probably be producing this ourselves? Can't we be producing it ourselves?
Perfect. You see, we live in a country where agriculture is predominantly focusing on income. We produce and sell or export. That should not be the focus. I think we should come to a point where we are producing to consume. If we know, and we have the experts in this country, nutrition-sensitive value chain, how much of this value chain are we producing to consume locally? That we cannot do. What is in plumping nuts that this country, we cannot do the mixture of plumping nuts. It is easy, and our government is promoting one district, one factory. I think this is where we should direct some of our attention. Can we support many more private sector players to do some of these food supplements? Can we encourage farmers to produce these nutrition-sensitive crops which they can use and reduce the malnutrition in the country? Or else, all the investment we are putting in as a nation in the education, in the health, will come to zero. As long as people continue to become malnourished and depend on the health facilities, as long as they become malnourished and go to school, you will not be able to achieve the desired income. Going forward, I think that government should show clear commitment in addressing this issue. It is possible for a lot of manufacturing companies to produce nutrients, food supplements in this country. That will be sufficient for every child in the country. And that's what we should be emphasizing on.
All right.
For me, if the presidency sees nutrition as a pillar in the development, the economic development, and decides to how the nutrition unit in his office, it will speed up implementation process than to allow nutrition to be addressed by several ministries like Agri, Health, Education is there, Gender Unit is there, Local Government is there. When you started like this, everybody seems to be doing so well, but collectively we are not doing enough to address malnutrition in the country.
All right. Thank you very much for making time to join us, Eric Banye. And you're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break at this point, but still ahead in the bulletin. The Auditor General is threatening to freeze salaries of public officials to frustrate its work, as it also seeks prosecutorial powers so it could be more effective in checking the misuse of public funds. Now, Joy News has been unable to bring you the documentary Missing Kilos. There's a reason for that. We'll be telling you that in the bulletin station. The Auditor General, Daniel Domilovo, is threatening to block the salaries of civil servants who refuse to cooperate with his office when he requests for documents. He says his office has also requested for prosecutorial powers from the Attorney General to enable them take on agencies and officials who are found to have flouted the law. At a news conference on Monday, Mr. Domelevo explained why his office has rejected some 5.4 billion cedis in payment and outstanding obligations for goods and services supplied government. There is more in the following report.
The exercise was carried out by the Auditor General with the aim of unraveling which government debts were genuine. Mr. Domelevo explains of the 11 billion cedis put in as claims by various ministries, departments and agencies, 5.4 billion cedis was not approved. He says those who have already been paid amounts that have now been rejected would have to refund, whilst government has been directed not to pay the rest.
You will have seen that I've activated my constitutional authority under Article 187, Clause 7b. By activation of that clause, what I mean is I've disallowed all expenditures that were labeled rejected in the report. And according to Clause 9 of Article 187, before those payments can be done, it means it must go to the High Court for the High Court to turn my decision. And I've sounded a warning in the report that whoever authorized the payment, whoever effect the payment, and whoever received the payment, they are all candidates of surcharge.
Agencies that had huge sums of claims rejected included the Ministry of Education, where an amount of 1 billion cedis was turned down. The same amount was rejected under the Ministry of Health, while the Electoral Commission's claims of 293 million cedis did not receive approval. Mr. Domelevo urged the government to prosecute individuals complicit in acts of fraud that had led to the demand for payment.
We have also urged the government to go forward with our report to ensure that the infractions are addressed. If anyone has made payment for government debt and deliberately submit the claim again for payment, that's fraudulent, in my personal view. And we are urging the Attorney General, the YOCO, or those with prosecutory authorities to take up this, our report, and we will cooperate fully with them by giving them the evidence we have so that we go forward, because we have to stop this behavior now. I don't think there is a better time to do this than now.
Speaking to pressmen, the Auditor General said a request has been put in by his office to the Attorney General for prosecutorial powers.
You have to first apply to the Attorney General to get a fiat from the Attorney General, and that is exactly what we are doing. So to save him from following up on this type of small prosecutions, I have a legal unit where I have practicing lawyers who can just go in and do the prosecution or file the writ against the people directly instead of waiting on his office, who may be dealing in bigger crimes. On
the attitude of some civil servants who do not cooperate with the audit department, plans to block salaries and allowances as a punishment to be employed in the coming years.
But something that they have the right, the liberty to decide when or what they should respond to. But that we are going to cure it, like I said it. If we now send you our observation and you don't mind us, the first thing we will do is to block your salary, because the law allows us to stop your salary. We will stop your salary. After stopping your salary, you don't mind us, we will disallow the expenditure and surcharge you. You might have bought the tables for the classroom, you might have bought the medicine for the hospital, it will be used, but you will pay for it, since you don't have the records or a means of justifying it to us.
Another report on how much has been retrieved through surcharges issued in 2017 is expected to be released in June.
Now, work on the ECG operational and procurement processes are far advanced, with expectations for the process to reach financial close by September 2018. Government believes the compact agreement, when fully operational, will improve management and operations of ECG. This assurance comes despite a lawsuit seeking an injunction on the privatization processes by the Public Utilities Workers Union pool. The union has been vociferous in its opposition to the Compact 2 agreement, which is expected to have another company take over the running of the power distributor. Deputy Energy Minister William Oreku Edu, speaking at the launch of ECG's 50th anniversary launch, reiterated no staff of the company will lose their job as a result of the agreement.
Currently, work on the ECG financial and operational turnaround project vis-à-vis the PSP is far advanced, and the government of Ghana expects the PSP procurement process to reach financial close by September 2018. I want to reiterate my assurance to all staff of ECG and that no staff would lose his job. And I repeat, no staff will lose his job as a result of the concessionaire taking over the management operations and investment in the distribution business of ECG. In addition to this, I am happy to note other amendments made to the original compact conditions. That is, the 25-year original tenure has, like I said earlier, been reduced to 20 years, and the 20% Ghanaian participation has been increased to a majority share of not less than 51% of Ghanaian citizens' participation. ECG will always continue to be in existence as a responsible asset owner with additional responsibilities for bulk power trading both locally and internationally. The ministry will continue to provide the necessary guidance, direction, and support to upgrade the ECG training school to a center of excellence in the West Africa sub-region.
Deputy Energy Minister William Rekuedu has been telling my colleague Komla Adom that privatization process is currently at the evaluation stage, adding a selected concessionaire will be announced by end of year.
Currently, evaluation process is being done, and once it is done and the concessionaire is selected, it will be announced to the people of this country. So the evaluation stage is where they are right now.
And we also know that by the end of 2018 is when the concessionaire will be announced. We are making progress in that regard as well.
Yes, everything is going on fine. Everything is going on fine. Evaluation is being done. Once it is done, the good people of this country will be told. And hopefully, by the end of the year, everything will be set in motion.
Meanwhile, the managing director of ECG, Engineer Samuel Boachiapia, says the privatization will give the power distributor a new focus, which will see the introduction and implementation of initiatives to boost efficiency.
We should take this opportunity to assure our stakeholders that ECG will continue to exist as an electric utility company. ECG has not been sold, contrary to what others believe. With the introduction of a concessionaire to invest in, manage, and operate our distribution assets, ECG will continue to exist, albeit with a different focus. The new ECG will be an active and responsible asset owner, will engage in energy trading, providing knowledge and skills to support other utilities through consultancy and an upgraded training center. The new ECG will also embrace the introduction of renewable energy into Ghana's energy mix in order to improve reliability of supply to our customers.
Elsewhere, some schools that are here in the Kwabre East District in the Ashanti region have been shut down following bloody clashes between two youth groups over the weekend. The action has been necessitated by fears of an escalation of violence in the community. Apart from the Ahuya Experimental A and B Junior High School that was opened Monday morning, the others remain closed. Joy News' Ashanti region correspondent Mahmoud Muhammad Nuruddin toured all the schools and reports he met some of the junior high school students who said they had been asked to go home by their teachers.
And they are ready to go home.
We are going home because confusion has come. And we are afraid. We are afraid of this.
Did they attack any of the students here?
No. But they attacked the people who were living around.
So when you came this morning, what did you learn?
We learned only French. We did not learn any subject apart from French. So the teachers closed us to go home. We are very afraid.
In less than 20 minutes, the school was deserted and classrooms were locked. The school authorities will not speak on record but express worry about the development.
A step away is the Ehia Experimental Junior High School. Students were busy in the classrooms. Teachers here would not also speak on record but said there was no need for them to close down the school.
Here is the district chief executive for Kwabere East, Nana Ose Asibe Bonsu.
Yes, I was highly disappointed. The attendance was on the low side, and some parents were even recalling their children from school. So I'm told, when I left there, I'm told the teacher decided to let the children go and come tomorrow. So we also, the DASEC will decide, so that we refer from tomorrow, we'll put some security people there. We are here to protect the people, properties, and whatever we have. So we'll put some security men there to make sure that somebody will not go there and attack them. So we are appealing to parents to allow their children to come to school tomorrow, because there will be tight security there to protect them.
Back to the busy street of the community, residents are going about their business as if nothing had happened. There is heavy police presence on the main Kumasi-Mampong road. Nana Asibe Bonsu again.
The police presence will be here for some time. But I don't want a situation where they will...
How long will they be here?
That's what I can't tell. Unless we see peace here, we will continue to keep them here. Otherwise, they will move. And then less time we see another people also coming from somewhere. We don't know what is going on behind the scene. So they'll be here for some time. And if we see, if the DASEC decides that they should leave, then we'll let them know.
The caution on the lips of many people is what could have caused the confusion.
My brother was a victim to the last Saturday's incident. This brother of mine is, he's innocent. Excuse me to say he's mentally drained. He's walking around. Just the police people came in and started shooting sporadically, and then unfortunately a bullet hit him. Right now he's in the Konfanachi teaching hospital.
There was a wakekeeping on Thursday night, which brought about there was a little misunderstanding between the Zongo boys and the Asante Line boys, which brought out the issue. But the underlying factor, as our chief was saying, is not actually the fact that those boys are from Ahua Zongo. They were passing by and decided to attend the wakekeeping. Thereby, on realizing that those there were Zongo boys, maybe because of their language, they took it as though it was the Zongo boys who did that. So there was a banter between them, which also resulted in a fight, which later on was resolved.
Many innocent residents have injured in the exchanges. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
We're taking a break here on Journey's Prime to bring you business news. And coming up in business, stakeholders in the downstream oil sector renew urgent calls for a review of taxes and the price build-up in petroleum products to cushion persistent price hikes on the market as petrol prices go up by about 4%. Business news next with Emmanuel Abajuyafe.
Good evening to you. Time now for business. Chief Executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies, Senyor Hossi, is calling for a review of petroleum taxes to help contain expected price hikes in the market. He was reacting to oil marketing companies' decision to increase prices by about 4% in the first pricing window for the month of February. Under the current situation where crude oil continues to rise, Senyor Hossi urged government to go in for hedging of its petroleum imports.
A number of things will definitely have to be done. One, a real opportunity to deal with prices in a more constructive manner seem to have been lost. We introduced a price stabilization and recovery levy in the Energy Sector Levies Act without a price stabilization plan. If you look at the ESLA report for 2016, it was rather spent on bust. And that's not what you do, because that's not a price stabilization plan. Because you have to look for a way to insulate the key factors that determine price, notably world market prices and the currency. We do not have hedging mechanisms for the currency that are deep enough to manage this market, but we do have options for the world market. So when prices were low, we had already made some recommendations to government then in 2016. Why don't we take a hedge on the market and for the year coming to 2017, and then in 2017 too, we made the same recommendations, take a hedge on products. Government is not moving product, government is not selling. It's the private sector that does. In a deregulated market, you can't do much about that. But what you could do is to hedge products and have a paper play. When you hedge products, as far as the paper is concerned, you could have a strike price. Anytime prices reach that point where you think it's uncomfortable for the economy, needing government to reduce taxes, you rake in rather a hedge income.
So speaking about the price hikes, you have made mention of several ways by which you could reduce it, but in practicable terms, if you were to meet government today to extend or expand your very advice on how we could maintain the prices, of course, prevent it from showing up, what's going to be that?
There's one thing we should be clear. There's only so much that government can do about prices, mainly the taxes. So if it has failed to hedge, to take income not against the actual product supply, but actually against its tax income, the main thing it has to now look is to review its taxes. We have the special petroleum tax, which definitely has to be reviewed. The special petroleum tax has an ad valorem structure. So the higher the world market prices, or the worse the exchange rate becomes, the higher the special petroleum tax you pay. So it means you punish consumers on two different levels, all right? And it's not an ideal situation.
Meanwhile, CEO of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boakye, is also criticizing industry watchers who are advocating the bulk oil storage transportation company BOST releases its strategic stocks to cushion price hikes. The ASEP board says petroleum products at BOST should not be used to regulate prices, but rather used only during periods of unexpected emergencies when there is a shortfall in supply of crude oil.
We should not be relying on BOST to be releasing products on the market to check prices. If you have strategic stocks, you have it for critical period, critical moment, where, for example, a ship is supposed to come, it couldn't come, it couldn't deliver the product onto the market, and therefore you fall on your strategic stock, so that the market can run, so that you and I can still have product running. You shouldn't use BOST to be regulating prices, on the market. We have to have that strategic stock for emergency situations. If you use the product and the next morning a ship that's supposed to dock didn't come, we don't have products on the market. So let us use the institution the way we envision it, to work for all of us. Let us have the strategic stocks if we want it, so that when there is that emergency where we don't have the stocks. For example, if the BDCs decide that they're not going to sell the products anymore, they are private entities, okay? That is when we need BOST, to pull in, to push the products on the market, so that we can make arrangements to bring in cargoes of crude oil. But when there isn't that emergency, let us not allow them to be market players, and be regulating the market when the regulator is there.
Away from that, Ghana Insurance Brokers Association, GIBA, is urging the National Insurance Commission to provide a limit for third-party injuries and death claims. President of GIBA, Nathan Edu, believes, just as pertains to third-party property damage, placing a cap on injury and death claims will help both parties to be well informed about claims payable in the event of an accident. He spoke with Joy Business at a cocktail event organized by the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana. Bismarck Awusa reports.
In the event of an accident where there is damage to another vehicle, the insurance company is liable for what is known as third-party property damage with a limit of 2,000 Ghana cedis. Under this policy, the limit could increase depending on the policyholder's financial capacity. This is, however, not the case for injuries and death claims. While some school of thought argue that it is impossible to quantify incapacitation of the human body, others believe it is necessary so as to prevent some insurers from cutting corners with regards to settlement of claims. President of Ghana Insurance Brokers Association, Nathan Edu, is one of such advocates. He is calling on the National Insurance Commission to provide a cap for such liabilities.
That is why we are talking about standard. That is why we are talking about capping. That is why we are talking about a lay-down procedure, so that if one suffers a particular injury, at least you on your own can have an idea as to how much compensation you'll be entitled to. If we have those laid-down procedure, then at least you know if you suffer amputation, you are entitled to so much. If you suffer a loss of eye or a finger or so, you are entitled to so much. Of course, taking into consideration also your dependence, your age, and your job description. You know, all those factors come into play.
Mr. Edu spoke to Joy Business at a cocktail event organized by the Chartered Insurance Institute of Ghana, CIIG, to outdo its new image. On his part, Deputy Commissioner of Insurance, Michael Lando, says much work has to be done on it before the end of the year.
It's right. That's the right thing to do. We have been working on that for quite some time. Indeed, I think there is a provision in the Insurance Act that requires us to provide caps for those liabilities. There's a document that we are working on, and we need to do the appropriate consultations and discussions to make sure that the document is workable. It needs to be passed into law because this will be used in the law court as well as the insurance laws, and so it has to go through some process to become the norm. So we are doing some work on that, on the draft. It's taken a while, but the work on it has resumed, and we hope to finalize that and put it to.
The implication for placing a cap is that claimants will no longer be exploited by some insurance companies, and this will as well serve as a guide to insurers in the settlement of injury and death claims. For Joy Business, Bismarck Ausa reporting.
Meanwhile, the Chartered Institute of Insurance Ghana, CIIG, has expressed its displeasure over price undercutting by some insurance companies. Insurance companies had always adhered to premium rates set by the National Insurance Commission, but as a result of keen competition among these companies lately, some companies have resolved to reducing their premiums to entice more customers. President of the CIIG, Reverend Asante Mafwa-Hinkra, fears this development could collapse the industry.
It does affect the industry because what happens is that when these things are perpetrated, the insurance in general, the level of competencies in insurance get reduced. And the premiums that are supposed to finance the claims are not enough. And then we move on and then try to cut corners with claims payment. And then that cycle, the public gets disinterested in insurance and sees insurance as in a suspicious way, and then the trust in insurance go down, and then the cycle continues where we keep falling because people don't trust the output of what insurance do. Right? If there's a particular person, because insurance is practiced by professionals, then whoever is the professional's license can be withdrawn. It could serve notice to other people that you cannot get away with breaking the law as a professional and having your way.
You made mention of the fact that it cannot be sanctioned at a stance, but I understand very well that there is what we call a premium computation. It's a formula that you have to go by, and I'm sure by now insurance companies have long ago forgotten about this particular formula.
Well, they do. They haven't forgotten it, but they see others not doing it and decided, well, let me also not do it because I'm competing. All the business is going to my competitor.
And that's all for business tonight. Meanwhile, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more business news. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji. Have a good evening.
Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the much anticipated hotline documentary Missing Kilos could not be aired at 6:30 p.m. as scheduled because of a legal suit against Joy News. The cocoa buying companies have gone to court to apply for an injunction on the airing of the 1 hour 30-minute documentary detailing plain stealing of poor cocoa farmers. In this piece, which couldn't be aired, investigative journalist Kwete Nate details how agents of state and private license buying companies tampered with their skills to rip off cocoa farmers of millions of cedis. Legal practitioner Samson Gladia Yenini has seen the suit and joins me on the line with what is contained in the... Thank you for making time, Samson. Now, why are the cocoa buying companies seeking to stop the airing of the documentary?
Well, what you have is the association of the group, so you could say is a mother association of the companies, essentially. And what they are saying is that having, listened or watched the teaser, they have every belief that what is contained in there is defamatory in nature, and it concerns them, specific companies that are involved. And for that matter, they have taken a suit for defamation. And on the back of the suit for defamation, they have now made an application to the court for an injunction to restrain multimedia for airing the teaser and even the documentary itself.
All right. In essence, what you're saying is that they feel or they believe that this documentary, when aired, will make them look bad.
Well, when we talk about defamation, then what it means is that you are carrying claims supposed to be truth, but which are false and damage the reputation of the entities or persons that the message is about or the story is about.
What remedies are available to Joy News?
Well, they are the ones who have gone to court, and they are saying that they want the court to find that what is going on is defamatory and that multimedia or Joy Kwete Nate should be punished by way of, a perpetual injunction, and also in monetary terms that some money compensation should be made to them for defamation. As it is now, it is only a rate that has been filed. Multimedia will have to take a decision as to whether or not it will enter appearance and file a defense. And if it does so, then what is immediately important is to mount an opposition against the application for injunction. What I can tell you is that the decision is completely in deference to the judicial system of this country, the decision not to air, because there is superior legal authority in this country that says that until and unless a court has given a judgment or a court has made a specific order against you, and you have become aware of the order or judgment, and you have refused to comply with it, you are not in contempt of court. But there is some inferior authority, which some judges also hold as good law, that for as long as the party who says what you are doing or about to do will injure their reputation, and they have served you a notice of what they intend to do, if you go ahead to do it, then you have overreached the court. You have done what the people have come to the court asking the court to stop you from doing. So if you do that, then you would have brought the administration of justice into disrepute, and you are in contempt of court and therefore punishable by prison term. But again, I stress that multimedia is clearly aware of the superior authority, but took this decision preliminarily in deference to the judicial system of this country. But in due course, you would get to know that the process will roll out, and you can only wait to see how interesting it will get. That's all I can say.
All right. Thank you very much, Samson Ladia Yenini. He's a private legal practitioner. You're still tuning into, you're still watching Joy News Prime here on the Joy News channel, Multi TV. And there's some news just coming through, some breaking news coming through in the last 20 minutes. The start dates of the 2017-2018 Ghana Premier League season has been thrown into disarray after the Ghana Football Association received a court injunction from an Accra-based court on behalf of Division 1 side Accra Great Olympics, halting kickoff. General Secretary of the FA, Ike Addo, officially received the court injunction on behalf of his outfit. The GFA were officially scheduled to launch the season this evening, but had to call off the program at the last minute due to the injunction. The GFA is expected to communicate officially its next line of action in the coming days, as the league will not kick off this weekend as initially planned. And Gary Al Smith will be joining us a little later with sports and bringing us details on all of that. Northern Regional Minister Salifu Said has launched a security operation codenamed Operation Calm Life to aggressively tackle armed robbery and other criminal activities in the region. It comes on the back of several robberies and pockets of conflicts in Bembela, Najong and Kafaba, among others, in which people have died in the last couple of weeks. The regional minister assured that security agencies will go after the criminals and those disturbing the peace of the region. Hashwin Mohammed reports.
The launch of Operation Calm Lives by the Northern Regional Security Council brought together security personnel drawn from the military, police, the fire service and the immigration service. Operation Calm Life is aimed at restoring total calm in the region to enable people go about their duties without fear. Deputy Commander of the 6th Infantry Battalion in Tamale addressed the troops before they embark on a route march on some principal streets of Tamale.
Neither will you be buying things on the roadside. Is that clear? Yes, sir.
Led by the security chiefs, the personnel demonstrated to residents their readiness to combat crime and all those who disturb the peace of the region. They later converged at the Tamale Jubilee Park for the launch of the project. Northern Regional Minister Salifu Said called on security agencies to deal ruthlessly with persons engaged in criminal acts,
as well as distasteful incidences involving the robbery of filling stations, mobile money operators, residential robberies, as well as highway robberies. In some few instances, some lives were lost, and this has created some fear in our communities and among our people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to declare that the days of fear are over and that our security agencies are coming out strongly to deal effectively with the perpetrators of these condemnable acts. The strong and smart turnout we are witnessing now should send the strongest indications to those nation wreckers that their days are numbered and that we will not allow anyone or group of persons to foment trouble, be it a robbery, chieftaincy, religious or political party confusion.
Northern Regional Police Commander DCOP Patrick Eduse Sapon called for the cooperation of politicians and traditional authorities to help achieve success.
Happy today is that the minister himself has launched Operation Calm Life, which has been witnessed by our chiefs, by our political leaders, and therefore the past interventions that they have made in the work of the security men is going to be a thing of the past. And therefore, we are going to work without fear or favor. Damn the consequences. we are assured that once we have their backing and their support, they must also be assured of ours. For the criminals, just a word for them. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Better let them stay off committing crimes. We will deal ruthlessly with them anytime, anywhere we get them.
Some logistics were distributed to help fight crime, especially robberies, said to be on the rise. For Joy News, Hashmin Mohammed reports from Tamale.
Now down south, the Tema Metropolitan Assembly ahead of the Motorway roundabout expansion works has pulled down structures, including huge advertising billboards. Areas earmarked for the project, according to engineers, must be devoid of advertising billboards, electric cables, containers, pipelines, among other obstructions. Tema correspondent Kwame Yanka has the rest of the story.
A grant of about $60 million from the Japanese government has been used for the expansion works. Last year, Meridian Port Services expanded the motorway runabout as part of the port expansion project to improve flow of vehicular traffic. However, this project by the Japanese government is expected to change the face of the runabout with an interchange. Tema Metropolitan Engineer Maxwell Edu-Boatin tells Joy News every obstruction will be removed to make way for the project.
This giant billboard has been pulled down and, in fact, it's been dismantled. And other structures such as containers and other billboards are also being moved to make way for the project. Whether we've given you permit or not, we cannot say that for the sake of whatever you have here, the project should be suspended. No, we need to allow the project to commence. So what we are doing now is to make sure that anything that will hamper the commencement of this project, we are moving it. We've made a special arrangement with the owners of the billboards to relocate them to locations where would be appropriate.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Progressive Car Dealers Association, located in the area, says they are against any move that will deny them their source of livelihood.
Anamona wo to say oye ekwano amaye de eye pa wadwen omano ene wadwen yenso ye yusu kase no nemum ekwan a ne nkofo no bi pese omofa so edebe pam ye no saa kwano mum na yene wo mo nya adwene ye wo baby bebre wo area ha on betumi de equipment na ayeden agogu ama edi asumye be den ebeba even ye akura no ye chia baby wo ho a bibia wo mo nye bibia ho asase ne da ho kwa eno so on betumi de enuma ne bi ayeden agogu ho.
Owners of heavy-duty machines, among other vehicles, have started moving them from the site ahead of Wednesday's deadline. Kwame Yanka's report for Joy News.
Now, President Akufo-Addo during the 2016 electioneering campaign promised to build one dam for every village across the country. The One Village, One Dam initiative is aimed at ensuring all year-round cultivation. 10 communities in each of the 11 municipalities and districts in the Upper West region have been selected to benefit from the program, and Joy News' regional correspondent Rafiq Salam visited one of the communities, Chirengu, and reports the people are excited about the project.
Government, under the Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program in the 2017 budget, earmarked an amount of 94,446,132 Ghana cedis for the One Village, One Dam policy. The One Village, One Dam policy is aimed at ensuring all year-round agriculture in the 3 regions of the north through the construction of irrigation dams in every village in the northern Gulf of the country. As part of the program, 10 communities in each of the 10 municipal and districts in the Upper West region will be selected to benefit from the program, which will enhance their agricultural infrastructure and also ensure that the rearing of livestock is on the high. One of the communities selected in the one municipality to benefit from the program is Charango. Farming is predominant here in the community. Rearing of animals like cattle is also done on a large scale. However, their greatest challenge is always in the dry season when the few wells and dugouts in the community runs out of water. They are forced without any option than to allow the cattle to drink water from contaminated sources. Alhaji Saeed Abdullah said a couple of years ago they lost several cattle as a result. He is therefore excited about the one village one dam policy promised by the government. We were hit with drought last year. We had only small water left on the dugout, but which was also contaminated with mud and clay. Our cattle became sick and later died after drinking mud and clay. We lost several of our cattle. We thought the one village one dam policy was a joke, but now that we have seen the people here, we are happy that our cattle will not die again. Fortunately for the Charango community, there is already an existing dugout. Engineers and consultants dispatched to the area are already busy at work. Their concentration the past few hours has been how to improve on the water storage capacity to serve the irrigational needs of the residents and their animals. Suleiman Oten is an engineer with the War Office of the Irrigation Development Authority.
We are taking some features on the ground. We are picking spot heights. We want to know the length of the existing wall. We want to find out the height of the existing wall. We also want to know the slopes and some physical features that we see here. That's what we are doing. We hope to increase the storage capacity. And as you are aware, when you came in, you saw large herds of cattle. They need water. So we need to improve the storage capacity so that they can have access to water all year round.
Upper West Team Leader of Infrastructure for Poverty Eradication Program, Amos Jato, pledged to finish the construction of the dams or dugouts before the rainy season sets in.
If you look at the structure of the Ghanaian economy, it's largely agrarian. That means that if we improve upon the agricultural development of our country, the high potential for us to increase GDP, to also empower our people economically is high. Therefore, government thought that we should go through agric to improve upon the Ghanaian economy.
Even though the construction of the dams and dugouts are yet to start, one municipal chief executive, Alhaji Tairu Isaku Mumin, is already talking about the benefit that people will derive from the construction of the dugouts.
This is a project that is coming, and we have to give it to people who are really in need of it, and not necessarily meeting our campaign promise. As you have seen yourself along all the communities that we have visited and considered, you realize that the people are actually in need of it. Our coming here, we saw that already they have a dugout that is fully silted, and then according to information picked from the ground, many cattle are lost last year because of the fact that during this time, the cattle are not able to get good water to drink. They drink the water contaminated with clay, and that has caused the death of many cattle. And others have to relocate their cattle to different communities or probably different regions, and that is no good for people.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Charango.
Now, for years, their repeated appeal to successive governments for basic amenities and other development projects have gone unheeded. Tired of waiting, the chief of Dediako is spearheading initiatives to build roads, schools, water and sanitation facilities to give them relief. Ohiming Teya visited the farming community in the Bosomchi district of the Ashanti region and now reports.
The chief of Dediako, Nana Ajepenin, has single-handedly funded the tarring of the main road linking the town to the district capital, Kontenase. Other initiatives include a classroom block for the local basic school and the water supply system at the cost of 50,000 Ghana cedis. At the commissioning of the projects, Nana Ajepenin promised to complete a 20-seater water closet toilet facility for residents of about 1,000. His people's welfare at the heart of all his initiatives. Nana Ajepenin encourages other communities to take up the challenge instead of relying solely on government for their needs.
Nananum, I implore you to use resources attached to your stools to the benefit of the people. Those resources are not your personal property. Don't use them to buy expensive vehicles and build mansions for yourselves. I am putting up a school which is at the lintel level. We now have water. I don't use or misuse the money I get from the stool on cars. I think about my people's welfare first.
Member of Parliament for Bosomtwe and Deputy Minister for Education, Dr. Ya Osei Aduchum, is touched by Nana Agyepeni's exemplary leadership. He wants traditional leaders to be agents of development for their people.
I want to commend the chief. He's done many things, like the road, almost about close to 2 miles of road. He did it himself. And that is something that we need to commend him for. Many chiefs are doing some work in their communities, but this is one of a great distinction when they begin to do the roads and provide water and all those kind of things. I think other traditional leaders, especially in Bosomtwe, should emulate the example of Nana Aduakwene. Because when they do this, then we're also able to do other things to support them. If he asks me for help on water, I may not have been able to help him with the school. So once they lift one side, we can also lift one side and really help transform our communities.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohim Interior reporting.
Now, Joy News has learned government has taken delivery of bulletproof cars for use by the presidency. At least 5 of the cars have been flown into the country from Dubai. Government is yet to officially confirm the delivery, but close sources have indicated that the vehicles are the same luxury ones that were procured by the Mahama administration. President John Mahama ordered the supply of 43 specialized vehicles worth more than $9 million barely 8 days to the handing over of power. Documents cited by Joy News have revealed former Deputy National Security Coordinator Alhaji Salif Osman gave approval for the use of the vehicle by the President, Vice President, First Lady and others. Joy News is learning the cars are capable of firing rounds of ammunition and are designed to withstand the effect of a hand grenade. The Akufo-Addo government altered the procurement because of the costs and suggested they were not adequately informed by the government during the transition period. It is not clear yet what negotiations may have been held before the Akufo-Addo government decided to take delivery of them, but the sources claim the government was able to obtain a reduction in the prices of the vehicles.
This is Joy News Prime.
Right, time now for headlines on Joy News Prime. The Auditor General is threatening to freeze salaries of public officials to frustrate its work, as it also seeks prosecutorial powers so it could be more effective in checking the misuse of public funds. Government has reported steady progress with plans to turn around the Electricity Company of Ghana under a new entity to be announced before the end of the year. Management meanwhile concedes customers can expect higher levels of efficiency. Ghana Health Service moves to the rescue of thousands of malnourished children who could die as a result of an acute shortage of the ready-to-eat food snack, plum peanuts. In business, stakeholders in the downstream oil sector renew urgent calls for a review of taxes and the price build-up in petroleum products to cushion persistent price hikes on the market as petrol prices go up by about 4%.